Hello there guys, it's me, and I kind of didn't want to do this video, but I feel like I kind of have to, because this was something that was bugging me a lot. Okay, context with this whole series, it's called Adam Ruins Everything. The whole point is the fact that he exposes shit for what it is, like some bullshit, and he gives you like the harsh reality of certain things, and that's the whole point. I like that. It's funny because it's like not only that, everyone who reacts to all this like terrible news is like utterly shocked as fuck, or they're like, oh god, can I just go back to living in ignorance and shit like that. It's funny. It's honest to god funny. And when my friend showed me this, I laughed my ass off about the first couple episodes. This is the one thing where I know, like, okay, you're literally just throwing away the truth. And this kind of fucks with me because it's like your name is Adam Ruins Everything. The whole point is that you're supposed to you're kind of showing the objective truth. That's what the whole point is. And you're kind of just like laughing in the sense like, yeah, I know all this shit is like all your little happy world is basically not what you think it is. And it's funny to me how your reality is basically crumbling. And it's funny. It is funny about that. But he's deliberately lying, or in this episode, or the company he's working for is like, you could tell they kind of have an agenda going on. Not in the conspiracy sense, but it's like you could tell there's like some fuckery going. But let's watch right now. The episode is called Why Divorce is Actually a Good Thing. And already, you can already think in your head, yeah, that's a big fucking lie. Alright, but let's watch it anyway.
Society is gonna crumble. People will eat each
Okay. Let's stop this right now. I know you're saying, okay, isn't this kind of a big jump to already stop right here? Alright, a guy got divorced. What do you think is going through? I mean, look at this fucker. Look at his fucking face. He is literally just destroyed. You can tell, like, oh my god, my life is fucking over. Why is that? What is the first thing that you guys think in your head? Think about it. Come on. Don't be shy. Tell me. What is the first thing you think of would be the most horrible thing to happen if you were to got divorced? I'll tell you what mine would be. It would be the big C word. Child support. Big fucking one. You're kind of tied on a leash with that. You can't really leave this person because you gotta always keep money flowing into this person. If you try to not pay for it, you go to jail. You can either go to jail or go be fined for it, alright? And that's probably what's cracking in your head. Just like, oh god, yeah, that's my big fear. Half my shit being taken away. The kids basically not really seeing me that much.
What consequences could I face if I don't pay child support? For willful failure to pay child support, you can be fined, jailed for a short term, or both. Or you can be jailed until you actually pay. Your child support can be deducted from your paycheck. Your driver's license and your business, trade, or professional license can be suspended. You may be unable to get a fishing, boating, or hunting license.
But let's see what they focus on first.
each other. We're gonna have to celebrate 2 Christmases.
Murph, calm down. Divorce isn't scary. In fact, it's a good thing.
Are you serious, dude? Half of all marriages end in divorce.
Oh yeah, that's what everyone says, but it's not actually true.
Whoa, okay, first of all, what the fuck does that have to do with really anything? Oh my... Alright, this is making me mad already. Oh boy, okay. What? Okay, listen, why is that the first thing that pops in your head? Just like, okay, it's fine because... it's... Oh my god, my head fucking hurts already. You guys literally missed the biggest fucking thing. I'm not sure if I'm angry at you or I'm angry at the fucking True TV. I'm not sure who I'm more fucking angry at. Because you know they're deliberately lying about this. They're hiding that fucking truth. They're talking about the rate, which is that's not what fucking matters. We want to know, like, okay, why is this somehow good? When, with the dude in this hand, is that he's basically going to get fucked. But they haven't talked about it, but let's keep watching anyway. Maybe there's something else that they're not telling us.
Ooh. Oh, hey, a dance circle. Properly calculated, divorce rates in the U.S. have never exceeded 41%. And after peaking in the late 70s and early 80s, since then the divorce rate has actually gone down.
Every day when you're walking down the street and everybody...
Now already right here, we have singlemotherhelp.org. This is basically helping you, this is giving you all the helpful tips and laws about child support for single mothers. Alright? This is already dedicated to them, so... Alright? The dude really didn't get... There's no single father's help. So, let's just go and ignore that, I guess, because that's not... There's mother's rights. Alright? There's a bunch of other shit that's basically saying that what she's obligated to. Alright, let's see. There's a big one that was a big important one right here, if I could find it. So case and granted physical custody of the child more often. Okay, here was the big thing too, is that they found is that in many cases the mother is granted physical custody over the child because the child is often more emotionally attached to the mother than the father. So this is kind of a disadvantage right there. More of the time, it's women engage in more of the divorces themselves. So, all right, so we've established that these women have power in the relationship too. They're not some kind of sheep that men control. So it's not going to be like that. So if they're in a shitty relationship, they're going to leave. But when they leave, they can take more than that. That's the point that I'm trying to get across. That's why it's messed up. They could take the kids, they could take half your shit, and they could take that. And they could take your money that you're making trying to sustain yourself into custody. And that's why there's like some of these like places where, if I can remember correctly, there's like Fathers for Kids. That was another one. It was this whole for father for equal rights, and this was basically helping guys that are supposedly not necessarily poor, but like not necessarily equal stance to be able to constantly pay the child support because of all the other shit. So it's like, okay, I can't afford the child support, but it's like, well, you're going to go to jail if you don't go and pay that, or you're going to be fined for it. So it's like, and what it's called a contempt of court. Basically means is that you are not following a court order. So if you went to court, you were told, yeah, you're going to have to pay child support. And if you don't do that, well, you're going to be sent to jail. That's basically the gist of that. So we all understand that. Okay. Now that we got that in our head, and now that we understand that, okay, well, not many people are really marrying too. You also got to understand that too. A lot of things have changed because men have started to realize, okay, look, I'm going to get into this divorce shit. She's going to end up getting all these divorce settlements, the child support. Maybe I'm not just going to marry in general. Maybe I don't want to get married. I would just end up being a bachelor or some shit like that. There's actually another good video that describes about that whole shit of why men aren't really marrying that whole much. Or much. I'm sorry about that effed up English shit right there. And it goes into an example and explains clearly why that is. And why it would end up leading to the idea that the divorce rates have lowered down because the marriage rates have lowered down. It is a factor, and it was something that's not being addressed in this in this source. But the source is in April 19, 2005. A lot of shit has changed in between those 11 years, all right? We all can understand that. A lot of shit has changed between those 11 years. A lot of technology has changed. A lot of mindsets have changed. That's the big point, and they're not factoring that in, all right? So, but I'll ignore that. Let's keep watching. Let's see how the hell this shit is going to play out. Maybe I'm just being an idiot.
So what? Divorce is still awful.
Why do you think that?
Because it means a happy marriage is over.
No, it means...
See, this is not a real person, okay? Don't get me wrong. That it is suckish that your happy marriage is over. Or maybe it wasn't that happy to begin with. But that's not the biggest concern. I know that's not the first concern that's coming into your... Anyways, let's continue.
means a bad marriage is over. And before access to divorce improved in the 70s, people were trapped in those awful relationships.
In the old days, to get a divorce, you often needed both spouses.
Old days. Keep in mind, old days. He said before 1970. This has no ramification as far as today. None of that does. That has nothing. I didn't even need to look up the sources. I actually did look up the sources. All of them say it. 1960. About the benefits after that. And they talked about this. Hell, you know what the fucked up part is? I read one of their fucking I told you that. The Kunz one. And they talked about all these different things that happened during the 1920s. This was during the olden times with divorce. But yet, as you read right over here in one of the sources that they give you, it was chapter 2 of the Kunz thing, or I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing her name right, was the fact that there was more premarital sex and affairs during marriage. Alright? Not necessarily divorces, but premarital sex and affairs. And since there was a more sexualization during this period, during the 1920s, more sexual relationships between husband and wife, more dating, informal heterosexual socializing, so there was more of that. There are probably more experimentations probably then, but that's not really clear, especially for what sources they're giving out. So, yeah, but even then, it's like, yeah, this has really no ramification as far as today. because this is back then. Right now, women don't have to worry about that shit. There's so many laws, and there's so many custody laws that are helping them. So they don't have to worry about that. And they also got the emotional side for them. Most of them will probably get the kids. That's just the reality of it. There's like, and then there's these like stupid reality shows where they show that shit too, where this guy's basically there's this one episode of Judge Judy that really does describe that, and it does suck, but it's like that would be the real cold reality of it too. All right, but then again, they're not talking about that. But whatever, let's keep watching. Let's keep watching and see what the fuck happens. Maybe something ends up coming up.
House is present.
My husband is trying to kill me.
And where is this husband?
Knife shopping.
No dice.
You also needed to establish fault. So if you wanted a boring old...
Now, here's the thing. I'm not a very big history buff. But here's the thing about that. I remember back then, I believe it was during the late 1800s, where it was, I can't remember if it was the late 1800s or it was the early 1900s, where it was legal to go and kill your wife if you caught her in an affair. And the guy that she was doing with it. If I can remember, it was either between that span. At this point, it's kind of being ridiculous right now, because I don't know if that's 100% true, but even then, it was back then. It wasn't justifiable, but it's back then. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a situation of divorce right now. It's not good. That's the fucking point, and they're not getting that across. They're trying to act like it is. In the perspective of the women, I guess it's better, but it's not good in general. That's the point. It's not a good thing then. If it's good, it would be good for both parties. Maybe they're thinking of in the sense that both people are both equally obligating themselves to go and say, you know what, this is not working out. Yeah, same thing. Maybe we should give ourselves some space. This wasn't the best idea. I still love you, yada, yada, yada. Let's try this maybe other time or whatever the fuck. Or whatever the hell happens with the settlement. Because I've never seen that kind of situation where both parties are literally like, fuck it, let's just go for a divorce. Usually one is initiating it over the other, but then again, they're not going to address it. They're not. So I'm going to keep looking through a couple of shit, and then I'm going to see what the fuck happens.
Violence wasn't considered grounds for divorce, so they could become trapped in abusive marriages. But all that changed in 1969 thanks to Ronald Reagan.
Here, listen to what he says back then. Wasn't. Past 1960. Bad shit that happened during then. Now it's not a big deal. That's my point, and this is the part that's really breaking my fucking brain with this shit. This is when I'm going, okay, you're not trying to look for a factual answer for this. You're lying. You're having an agenda. You're having a narrative, and it's pissing me off. All right? This isn't even funny. None of this is even okay. This is literally lying. This is lying. I know I sound like I'm taking this too personally, but it's like, you can't go and call yourself Adam Ruins Everything then. This show can't go and do that. Then it's losing credibility. You've lost credibility. That's what it is. Now, maybe most of your shit, most of it probably is true. I haven't watched all of the videos, but I've watched a good amount. The vitamin C one was true. Alright? Most of this shit, like, I like the idea of the fact that it makes you question and all that crap, but at the same time, it's like, you already have an agenda. You've already lied. You didn't go and spout the truth. So that loses credibility. That stifles credibility. What I try to do with my channel, it's like, I'm not a genius. I don't try to go and advertise myself as some all-knowing exposer. But at the same time, it's like, Jesus freaking Christ. Some shit is obvious right in front of your face. The divorce is actually a good thing is a blatant lie. It is a lie. And that's something you could obviously see right in the back. There wasn't anything objective. All I could have said, if you want my honest opinion, someone else could have probably looked at the video and just immediately said, okay, what about child support? Done. It's not a good thing. It's not. Alright? Get over it. It's not a good thing. That's all it is.
As governor of California, I introduced no-fault divorce, a revolutionary innovation that made it far easier for folks to separate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this marriage.
The concept soon spread to other states, and by some estimates, reduced cases of female suicide by 20%. That's why divorce rates rose in the 70s, not because society was crumbling, but because divorce was finally available to the people who really needed it.
Now that shit, the very last part about the female suicide, I actually don't know. That's something that could actually be really fucking true. And what it looks like, and as far as the sources for that, that justifies it. That actually would make a lot of sense in the long run too. I'm not going to try to deny that, because that actually makes more sense. Back then, women were probably abused. They're in some shitty relationship. But to go and compare it right now, and to try to justifying why divorce is actually a good thing, is stupid. It is downright stupid. It didn't help. It's still not a good thing. And it's probably never going to be a good thing until there's some kind of purely equal arrangement between both parties of a marriage. And that might take for a while, because some people are just looking at like, oh, well, the mother needs the kids because all that shit or whatever. That's the way I see it. And it's like, this is a blatant lie. This is a blatant lie. The real ounce of truth in this video was during the last segment. And even maybe someone else might end up doing a video on him too, and just go like, okay, actually, yeah, he lied about that. That's actually pretty skewed. No, that's actually kind of skewed. Thank you all for watching, and see you guys later. It's just like, I'm actually really bummed, because this was one thing I was debating whether not to do, but I felt like I had to. Alright, later.